it's Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Tonight, Monday, September 8th. Hopefully everybody had a nice weekend. So, nothing much going on. It doesn't look like today. Just Parliament, I guess, in Canada is coming back a week from today. I'm not really expecting much from the Canadian Parliament, but it's coming back. They haven't been back for a while, so it's not like they do anything, just screw things up. But before Parliament comes back, I see some stuff on the Twitter today. And basically confirms what people were saying about immigration in Canada, that it's totally out of control. And there's so many avenues to get into Canada. And once a lot of these people get into Canada, they don't have no intention of leaving. The one program that they're talking about is some IMP program, which is some international mobility program, and that's apart from the temporary foreign worker program. So it's like, how many different ways are there to get into Canada? And it makes sense, because you wonder, like, how are all these guys getting into Canada? It's got to be on purpose. Like, there's no way the government wouldn't say, hey, all these foreign workers coming in, what happened? No, they did it on purpose. And so I think the numbers are way higher than they're letting on about the immigration numbers. And Pierre and the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, they're only looking at the temporary foreign worker program, which, it's just the way it works, like they just chip away and talk about the minor problems and ignore like the major issue, like, which is like the overall numbers. It's just window dressing what they're offering. Anyway, and then also there was this crazy thing in the States, in North Carolina. Some crazy dude totally butchered a young woman on a subway in North Carolina. It was on video too. Crazy. And it's kind of like what's going on in here in Canada. Like, crazy people with knives. You never know. You got to keep your eyes open. That's really the point of that story. It could happen anywhere, really. Everybody's surrounded by crazy people with knives. So, yeah, it's crazy. And that's it. It's been a pretty quiet day. So let's go to the news feed. Just go over each post of the day. Just the same old stuff. Third world Canada, basically. Unfortunately. All right. Come on. Sorry, guys. Big problems. Okay, so the first post. Oh my God, look at this guy. So there's rumor, Olivia Chow. I mean, there's a mayor. The election, municipal elections are next year, about a year from October. And Toronto, in Sarnia here, we have a crap mayor. We need to get rid of him. But in Toronto, they have a crap mayor. Her name's Olivia Chow. And this is the former crap mayor, John Tory, who had to resign because he was screwing his secretary or his assistant during COVID when he was telling everybody to stay apart from each other. And he had to resign, and now they're saying he's going to make a comeback because Olivia Chow is such a horrible mayor. So yeah, Toronto, if they get this guy instead of Olivia Chow, they deserve what they get. Poor Toronto. it's the place of my birth, but it's screwed. Third world shithole. What's he saying now? This is him during COVID. He didn't take a haircut to show he's a part of the common man, suffering with the common men. But he's just a goof.
Dose of vaccine? Keep scrolling. But if you haven't received your vaccine, your first or your second dose, what are you waiting for? It's proven to be safe and effective, and it will help put this pandemic behind us. And I promise, if you go and get your first and your second vaccine, I'll stop doing TikToks on COVID-19.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get kids to get the vaccine.
If you received your first or second dose of vaccine, keep scrolling. But if you haven't
Yeah, he's a goof anyway. He's a clown. So we'll see if he comes out of the woodwork. Even with Chow, they're screwed. Toronto's in big trouble. All right. Next, we have some Indians poaching salmon in Ontario. This is a big thing. I guess it's highly illegal. You're not supposed to be doing that. But I guess Fish and Wildlife doesn't have time for this kind of enforcement. All right. So yeah, we're turning into a third world country right before our eyes. Next, there's that. This is the girl that got killed on the subway. She was from Ukraine. She was a war refugee. And this crazy guy, I guess he was he's been arrested like 13 times, 14 times, and apparently he's out on the street. So she's a 23-year-old, killed by a man named DeCarlos Brown Jr. on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina. And nobody's covering it because they say they don't want it because Trump's sending all the National Guard to the cities to crack some heads. So I think that if they publicize, the media publicizes this story, it'll support Trump's case to send the National Guard to the cities, because they need to go and crack some skulls. I think I have a video of this guy. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. So she's just sitting there. She just got done work. And you notice she wears I thought it was a boy at first. Not some pretty Ukrainian girl, because she's trying to be as she doesn't want to attract any attention from weirdos. So she's dressing up, got the hat, she's got the hat and the glasses, and it still didn't work. Look at that. She's just sitting there unknowing. He just pulls out the knife. Pocket knife. Look at this devil. So I guess he stabbed her a bunch of times. She died. And then he's just walking around with the knife, dripping blood. Look at that. Could you imagine? And people are like, what the hell? He must have done it quick, because now they notice the blood, and then they I think they notice it. Look at this guy. Oh my God. It's fucking horrible, eh? Can you imagine that? You're on the subway and that happens. Animals. So it's been a lot of outrage from some, not from some certain groups. Some groups saying, "Oh, he's mentally ill." They're defending him. Come on, man. I don't care how mentally ill you are. You got to have some accountability. Next, here is, I don't know, this is in GTA somewhere. Another Indian statue going up. I don't know what the deal is with these statues. Lord Shiva inauguration, September 6th. Okay, well, they got a drone up there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Next post. Oh, you only have a problem with illegal immigration. It's not illegal immigration that's turning Canada into India's second asshole. It's illegal. It's legal immigration. Wake up, you idiots. Yeah. No, like what the politicians do, they go after like the easy targets. Like they say, oh, the criminal. If you commit, maybe deport criminals or deport certain people, but it's illegal immigration that's really going to screw Canada because a lot of them will get their permanent resident card, and then they'll bring like their whole family over, right? So it's illegal immigration that's really driving the growth. It's not like the refugee program or whatever, this or that, or the illegal border crossings or whatever. Okay, so talking about legal methods, the student visa method was for 10 years was a huge way to get into Canada, and we were kind of led to believe that these students are coming and they're going to learn all this stuff from our awesome colleges, and then they're going to go back and do and fix their countries or improve their countries. But like basically all these students, quote students, were coming with the intention of staying in Canada. And the college is more than happy to encourage uh, this belief, and because they took their money, they wanted the money. And now that the scam has kind of been exposed, that these students aren't coming to learn, they're coming just to immigrate. They've basically closed. They started closing that student visa route to Canada, basically an immigration route through the colleges. So, but like I said, they're gonna find another way in. Like the student visa was so abused to the point where they had to like cut down on issuing visas for students. It'll probably go back once the heat goes off. But right now there's a lot of heat, so let's cut the visas. But they'll let them in some other visa scheme. I honestly believe that. And even so, like it's already accomplished its goal. If it was to bring millions of young Indians to replace us, it accomplished its goal because guarantee millions of those students are still here. Probably they hooked up with some other students and had some anchor babies, and because I've seen tons of Indians with like young children. I'm pretty sure those young children were born in Canada, so it's a good chance some of them came in as student visas, had some babies, and they're still here. So yeah, so many ways to get into Canada. Like, could you imagine being an immigration lawyer consultant in Canada? You'd have your pick of programs to push your clients through. Big problems, because that's what they want. Like, I mean, flood as many people as I can. No, here we go. This is in Kelowna. Kelowna RCMP share sketch of sex assault suspect. Look familiar? And I like this. He looks exactly like the 1.4 billion other Indians. Good luck finding that asshole. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna find this guy. Based on the sketch, they're gonna have a problem. All right. Next. So yeah, on the weekend that video of the guy, the weekend of the guy, that guy basically murdering that poor girl on the metro. This is what CTV News puts out. Black man shot at while waiting to go to work, says South Carolina needs hate crime law. So on the same weekend that a black dude basically butchered a white woman like an animal on a public subway, they run this headline. Like, I don't know why the picture's not showing. So it's like they're trying to piss people off. What's going on with CTV News? They're such a joke, though. The Canadian media, I stopped watching them. I don't watch them. I just do their posts. But like, yeah, that's what they put on the weekend of that brutal murder. Now they did finally post the story on the Metro murder, but they did this one first. But there's been barely any media coverage of this guy doing what he did. Obviously, because they don't want Trump to look like he's got a point, and they don't want to, I don't know, offend black people. I don't know what the deal is with that. And there's here, next post, Viktor Orban. This guy's the president of Hungary, or prime minister of Hungary. He's been at odds with the European Union. He's like a Trump guy. Like, he wants closed borders, no immigrants. Basically protect the Hungary first policy, basically. So he says he's been fighting with the EU. He says it's in a state of collapse. If everything continues like this, I consider it completely impossible to adopt a common budget after 2035. The EU will go down in history as a disheartening outcome of a noble experiment. Yeah, because the EU is kind of like Canada. They got the issues with just flooding with the third world migrants, and not only they're flooding them, getting flooded with them, but they're letting them do whatever they want. Like, pretend you're at home, guys. So it's kind of Canada and Europe are the same. The States too, but not as bad yet. But Carney, Randy Hillier says, Mark Carney wants us to join this failed experiment. And like, I think that's, yeah, it is a failed experiment, because we're trying to avoid all the, we're trying to get rid of these policies that the Europeans, they're way ahead of us. They got way more immigration, more clampdowns on protests against immigration. Like, we don't want to be like them, but Mark Carney wants us to be. Next, here's this thing with the foreign workers. So Pierre's been going after the temporary foreign worker program, but I think because he has to, his a lot of the base of the Conservative Party is very starting to get sick of the immigration situation, and so he kind of has to go after something, and so he goes after the temporary foreign worker program. But according to this, the temporary foreign worker program for 2024 is only 236,000, and then study permits 900, way too many there. It's almost 1 million. But what is this? International mobility program, almost 2 million workers. So yeah, but Pierre's talking about this little thing here. He's not talking about the big red thing. Okay, so that's crazy, and it makes sense. This, how I think this international mobility permit business works is, the program is, I don't know how it works, but it's obviously an entry program from workers, and the Indians use this perfect, because what they do, you see, they own hotels, they're opening restaurants, they do gas stations, truck stops, whatever, and then they get they never have a problem staffing these things. Like, there's a guy in Sarnia, Indian guy. He's opened like 4 different restaurants, 4 different locations. And you know how hard it is to get restaurant staff, but he's doing it, and because he gets a lot of international, like Indian people to come over. So I'm sure he's probably using either the temporary foreign worker or the international mobility program. But and some of these businesses, they set up businesses as like fronts, and then they can bring people over, and they actually do like human trafficking. So they say, because they own the people, they say, hey, we brought you here, you do whatever we tell you, or else you're going back to India. So, yeah, a lot of corruption there, a lot of human trafficking. But yeah, they just want to flood Canada. Like, that's 2024. Between the IMP, students, and temporary foreign work, it's like 3 million people in 1 year. That's not including all the refugee. It's not including like legal immigrants and permanent residents, people becoming permanent residents and then bring a sponsor and their family. It's not including any of that. So we're talking about millions of people here. It's gonna be hard.
This is less
hard
of an
to fix.
ideological problem.
All right, next post. This is Jamel Javani talking about Doug Ford at some kind of forum, the Western Standard. I don't know what this is. And he's basically saying what I've been saying about Doug Ford is that he's not a conservative. He's basically just says what he needs to, his advisors tell him what to do and what to say in order to win in Ontario. So basically get the widest, like, centrist voters, or like voters who don't want a right wing, let's say conservative. They want a red Tory conservative. So basically he's saying Doug Ford doesn't have any principles. He just goes at whatever the wind blows and whatever the consultants say. And he did that. You saw that during COVID, where he favored the big companies over the small businessmen. And you saw it with immigration, him and Trudeau, hand in hand, flooding Ontario with immigrants. And you see him, like, when he does his ethnic pandering, when he wears a turban and goes to their temple and prays. So he's basically just like a uniparty guy. Let's see what he says.
As you might if you spend time with
Jamal hates him too. That's funny.
But I would say this is less of an ideological problem and more of a what is the point of politics problem. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. I don't think Doug Ford or the people in his administration believe they have an ideology. I don't believe they have come to a rational conclusion that there's a better way to be a conservative than what I or you would say. In fact, I'm not even sure they would be capable of having a conversation about conservative ideas or principles. What I think is more of the issue is there are people who think the goal of politics is to have power and maintain power for as long as possible at whatever cost is required to pay. And there are people who want to do politics because they believe in certain values or ideas or changes that they would like to create. And to me, that is the difference in Ontario between a lot of the people who are, who are our candidates and myself. I don't want to speak for other people. So I'll say that's the difference between me and the difference between Doug Ford. It's weird when you talk to someone, as you might if you spend time with people in the current incarnation of Ford Nation. And they think that because someone put a good poll out for them, that you're supposed to be happy. Like, oh, you got a good poll. I guess that's good. And not to diminish the fact that that's a reality of our business, like we need to get public support. But if you're popular but you're not doing good things, why am I supposed to be happy about that? Yes. And to be perfectly honest,
That sounds like
I
what's
also
going.
question,
Sounds about right in
you
Ontario.
know, whether the negative effect of that is producing more cynicism among our people, right? If people think politicians don't believe in anything and they're not going to do anything, and regardless of what color your jersey is, you're going to have the same approach to big, important issues, then you're making a lot of people feel like politics isn't even worth getting involved in the first place. You're making a lot of people feel like making the time to vote is not worth it in the first place. And that is my biggest concern among anything as it relates to Doug Ford, is that is what he's doing to our people in Ontario and ventures to do to our people across the nation, I think, if he had his way. So that is what bothers me, and why I was so amped up on election night is because for weeks and weeks I had been seeing volunteers putting their effort in to trying to help win this federal election. Kids who've never voted before, single moms making time after her shift to come and knock on doors, people who are giving everything they had. And when they would open up their phones and see stories of the so-called conservative premier of Ontario trashing what we were doing, they felt discouraged. And they deserve someone to speak up for them and tell this guy, I don't care about how, about your theatrics and your stunts. I don't respect you, and I'm going to point it out because I don't like what you're doing to the people who are trying to fight for a better country.
Okay.
That was the point I had to make.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting because I say the same thing about Doug Ford. He's not a conservative. He doesn't care about Ontario. All he cares about is winning, and he looks at the polls and he does enough pandering to enough groups to get, has nothing to do with what he believes in. But, and the Ontario is in worse shape because of it. Here's these black dudes in Chicago saying,
not do it. We are a different fucking breed out here, nigga. We are not Los Angeles.
Listen to this.
Trump, do not send the National Guards to Chicago, gang. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different fucking breed out here, nigga. We are not Los Angeles. Nigga, we are not Washington, D.C. Nigga, this is Chicago, nigga. Them niggas go fight back. I'm telling you, them niggas go fight back, gang. Whatever, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Them young niggas got switches, gang. They not going for that shit, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Nigga, do y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro? There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by.
All right. So basically he's saying to Trump, don't try sending the National Guard like you did in Washington and L.A. But these gangbangers, they talk tough, but it's easy to mug civilians, unarmed civilians. But try fighting these guys with machine guns who would more than love to shoot back at you. These guys would be crying for their mamas. It's funny. It's hilarious. But it's gotten to that point where, and maybe in Canada, it should happen in Canada, is like, you got to send the army in to crack some skulls with these guys. That's how bad it's gotten in some cities. Here's Don Cherry, way ahead of his time. He said this in 1990, man. This is crazy how accurate this guy was. And they destroyed him. He's like basically, he's like almost like on the Nazi category, where in the sense that's what they treat him. They treated him like they destroyed his career, his rep. They won't give him honors, any Canadian honors. But listen, this is what he said in 1990. Can you believe this? Way ahead of his time. He started going to Canada started going to shit in the 90s. They signed that free trade deal in then 88, and then the North American free trade deal. Then the opioids came. Then the immigration came. So yeah, the 90s. This is when Canada started going to shit. He called it. Let's listen.
We have to be careful. Sick and tired of Canada kowtowing to the rest of the world. I heard a politician say, we have to be careful because the rest of the world loves us. No wonder they love us. We're weak. We're spineless wimps. And foreign aid, if you want to get into that, here we got people dying. Here we got people dying for want of beds, and we're giving money to the foreigners. No way. It'd be Canada first and Canada only. That's what I am. a nationalist. I want to start a new power, the national. Whether I'm dangerous, I just say what I think. And it's the way I think. You could say it's bigotry if you want. I don't think it is. I'm pro-Canadian, more so than I'm anti-Soviet or anti-Swede. I wish more Canadians were like me.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's too bad. Like, he's in his 90s now, so he's not in any shape to. But it's too bad he wasn't like 20, 25 years younger. He'd be out. He'd be out in the lead there, I think. Next, Dominion Society. We're going to expose all the issues in our immigration system and provide Canadians with the solution: remigration. Yeah, lots of holes in that immigration system.
How public policy works, like how we incentivize people to come. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be on board, to be helping you out with Dominion Society, because as I mentioned, I feel like, we're only just scratching the surface on ways to talk about this, educating people about remigration, educating people on how public policy works, like how we incentivize people to come here and to exploit our social services. And we're also, in the same way, incentivizing white Canadians to get made. Like, this is such a betrayal of the Canadian people that's happening. And there's really so much to really sink our teeth into. This is something that I think will really activate people and win their hearts and minds and really get them moving in the same direction. And that's exactly what we need to turn this country around.
Yeah. Lots of material to work with, for sure. Lots of abuse. Okay. Next post. This is funny. If your locality is not currently being invaded by Indians, I truly envy you, but just know it's coming to you too. Yes. Yes, it is coming. It's definitely happening here in Sarnia, but we'll see what it looks like in the next couple of years. It's definitely happening, though. All right, next. Dominion Society of Canada. Temporary foreign worker program is one thing, but have you heard of the International Mobility Program? So let's hear what he has to say about this.
On the International Mobility Program. Here's the truth. The International Mobility... What if I told you the Temporary Foreign Worker Program is only the tip of the iceberg? I'm happy to see Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party finally talking about the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, but I am concerned about their silence on the International Mobility Program. Here's the truth. The International Mobility Program, or IMP, is even bigger. In 2024, over 1.9 million work permits were handed out through the IMP compared to just 236,000 under the TFW program. That means the vast majority of so-called temporary workers are coming through this back door, and almost nobody is talking about it. What makes the IMP so dangerous is that it doesn't require an LMIA, a labor market impact assessment. That means employers don't have to prove Canadians aren't available to do the job. Big business can just bring in foreign workers with no questions asked, displacing Canadians, driving down wages, and flooding the labor market. The IMP was sold as a way to handle things like trade agreements or youth exchanges, but just like every other immigration policy, it has exploded into a massive loophole, quietly importing hundreds of thousands or even millions of cheap laborers into our country. This is not just a small-scale program, it's the main engine of temporary foreign labor in Canada. If the CPC is serious about protecting Canadian jobs, they can't just abolish the temporary foreign worker program. We have to shut down the International Mobility Program too. Canadians must come first in our own country. I have a simple call to action. End the imp.
Yeah, like, that's pretty crazy that they're bringing in that many workers without any, effort to find like a Canadian worker first. That's horrible. And of course, Pierre's only going after the TFW. See, that's what they do, eh? They give you a little slop, and he's not even in power, so he can say whatever he wants about the TFW. He's not in power, but even if they do something about the TFW, which I think the Liberals said they were going to do, you still have that IMP program. And then they'll find about 10 other programs to scam. Next. Did you know about the latest fake college scam in Brampton fleecing Canadian taxpayers? So yeah, but this whole student thing was a scam. I thought this video was kind of funny.
Market it in India. Get the students in through Service Canada. Charge 20,000. So we make a fake college.
20 grand to go to Canada.
Market it in India. Get the students in through Service Canada. Charge $20,000 and we give them the diploma and they run off scot-free. Exactly.
So that's what was happening in the last 10 years in Canada. Student visa scams. The colleges were all in on it. Doug Ford was all in on it. Everybody was in on it. And the ones who got screwed were Canadians whose cities, college cities, got flooded with students who had to rent apartments, drove housing prices up, put healthcare services under pressure, all sorts of bad things. But, you know, that's what this Canada is like now, I guess. Corrupt immigration policies. Next, some criminal action here in Huntsville. 4 Indians wanted for robbing an estimated $8,000 of merchandise from Home Depot in Huntsville. So they're probably from Toronto. They just drove up to Huntsville. Just loading it up. This guy's gone for Christmas shopping. Same with this guy. Christmas came early. Christmas in September, sorry. Okay. Not even trying to hide it. Because that's what they do in India. If they can get away with it, they do it. So in Canada, they figure, oh, nobody's going to arrest us because they see it all in the news. People just doing whatever they want. So now that's what they do. This is in Mississauga. Apparently, it's becoming a problem. Illegal dumping. Your trash isn't someone else's treasure. Illegal dumping isn't just unsightly. It's illegal, harmful to wildlife and public health, and it costs the city money to clean it up. So, yeah. That's what happens when you bring a third world culture into Canada. You turn it into a shithole. And this is a big issue, eh? Like, big issue is disease, rats. Rats love garbage. So if you want to attract tons and tons of rats, act like a third world country. That's horrible. I said, city of Mississauga is turning into a third world country. I got Mississauga is turning into a third world shithole. And my comment's turning. It's already turned into giving Brampton a run for its money. Yeah. Okay. Next post. So here's the imp. Politicians like Michelle Rempel see a graph like this and think, yep, that's the blue bar is the problem. But real problem is clearly the red bar, the International Mobility Program. Why the silence? So yeah, if you see there, it's the blue is the one Pierre's criticizing. And yeah, and the red is the one he's not criticizing. Okay. So, next post. Who's this guy? Suspect identified in Pickering shooting. Police have identified a 33-year-old male suspect wanted after a shooting in Pickering. Left 2 people in hospital with serious injuries. So another shooting. Who knows what this was all about? Who are they looking for? Mehiban Purinbenathan. That's Sri Lankan, I think. We gotta do our Sri Lankan. We gotta have Sri Lankan representation here too. Okay, next. This is hilarious. This guy in Texas, they were trying to steal his car, and he started shooting at him, and I was like, man, this is hilarious, because if he did this in Canada, he'd be in so much trouble. So basically, they had a shootout. Let's see what it says.
An attempted car theft turned last month at around 2 a.m., 2 suspects showed up to Willie's home in southwest Fort Worth, armed and with special technology used to steal cars. The suspect removes the car's side window. Then the suspect climbed into the driver's seat.
My spotlight was on and everything, but they didn't care.
Willie and his son got the alert from their home camera, so they came out. An attempted car theft turned into a gun battle.
I said, I told my son, hey, back up, back up.
Yeah, back up, son.
When the suspect fired, Willie shot back.
I decided to fire the
Willie.
2 shots in the air and let them know that I have a weapon over here.
That sent the suspects rushing back to their white Camaro.
They were still shooting as they were running.
The suspects sped off. No one was hurt.
You could have easily been hit.
Yes.
What do you say to people who say, you have insurance, just let them go?
They coming in my yard,
Yeah.
on my property, trying to get my vehicle. I'm protecting my property. Yes. And that's my right.
You see, Willie says he's had enough.
Fed up, big time.
He says this is the third time thieves have targeted his vehicles. Last year, the family's Camaro was stolen and never recovered. This time, they didn't get away with the car, but the suspects are still on the run.
Okay, I thought that was hilarious because if he did that in Canada, if he started firing at them, he would have gotten in so much trouble. But it's pretty bad. Like even in the States and in Canada, it's gotten to the point where police aren't able to protect your house, and it's pretty bad that you have to shoot at people. But I think he did the right thing, because what's the point? What's the point of having stuff if you can't protect it? But it's unfortunate that we have to even have shootouts in your driveway. That's the problem. But at least here that he doesn't get punished for it, for shooting at him in Texas. Hell no. Here he would have got big time charges. Here's another Indian scholar from the Brampton Institute of Trucking. Look at this carnage, holy. Why would they let these guys drive truck, man? Some of these guys, I don't know, man. They're wearing their flip-flops and they're talking on their phone, texting. Look at all the cars, man. Wow.
I think it's that guy right there.
Wow.
That's the guy right there.
Crazy. Like, it's pretty bad. You get on the highway in Ontario, you might die. Like, you could die that's any time you drive. It's statistically more dangerous than flying, but now it's even more dangerous with these truck drivers. So yeah, we're screwed. We need some big changes here. And like I said, Pierre is pulling up all the slop, because him and Michelle Rempel, they're acting all like, outraged over this immigration. They didn't say a word of it during the election, which is not even less than 6 months ago. And now they're talking about it's might as well just, they're feeding slop to their voters, because there's not going to be an election for like 3 years. And people, I don't know. It's just, I don't see anybody coming to shake things up in the near future. We just have the same politicians. So we'll see what to put up with this. So that's it. We'll see what happens. Next broadcast is tomorrow, September 9th. Hopefully it'll be a more exciting day. Until then, everybody, have a nice night.